Welcome, everybody, to WFHR's Spring Candidate Spotlight Series. This is where we are taking some time to get to know some of our local candidates and ask them the same questions that we ask their fellow candidates, give them the same amount of time. There will be no follow-up questions, so we can keep the questions basic and to the point and to everybody's, so they are the same for everyone. I want to encourage everybody right away to go to myvote.wi.gov. Make sure that you are all registered and ready to go for the election coming up. Joining us right now, candidate for Port Edwards Village President Matt Fletcher is with us on the phone. Matt, thanks a lot for joining us.
Sure. Hello, everybody.
Matt, one of the things we like to do is let people get to know our candidates. So what can you tell us about yourself?
Okay. Well, I've lived in Port Edwards for 50 years, my whole life. I'm a retired port fireman. I was on the fire department for 25 years. I retired as the senior captain and director of the EMS department. I'm currently a respiratory therapist for the past 24 years. I've been married for 18 years to my wonderful wife, Nikki. I have twin girls, juniors at Port Edwards High School. I coached softball for Port Edwards for 10 years. When I retired from the fire department, I joined the Port Edwards Lions. I just believe it's important to give back to the community. Lastly, I have multiple homes in Port Edwards, so I believe it's real important to maintain a good community and keep it an affordable place. I love Port Edwards, and I want to make it a great place again.
Matt, why did you decide to run for office?
Well, again, I've lived in Port Edwards for 50 years. I know everybody. I was on the fire department and EMS for 25, so I've met everybody. Sometimes in bad circumstances, but everybody's upset. Everybody's upset that our taxes are so high. I believe I can help fix that. I've managed the Port Edwards EMS budget for the board already for years and years. I manage a multi-million-dollar budget for a home respiratory company. I'm very familiar with that type of stuff, and I believe I can fix this. I'm a leader, and I lead from the front. I'm not leading from an office, from a chair. I like to get out and meet the people and help. I make time for everyone. I listen, and I believe I care about this town and the people in it. And I've been going door to door, and I'm not quite done with everybody, but I've been going out door to door and giving out my personal cell phone. People are upset. Lastly, I'm a very responsible person, financially responsible, especially. I don't owe anything to any banks or, on homes or cars or any of my toys. And I believe I can bring that responsibility to the board and get Port Edwards back to the way it should be.
We feel this can be a chance for our audience to inform people about our candidates, but also about the job that they are running for. With that being said, Matt, what can you tell us? How would you describe being a village president and what that job entails?
Well, I think it's a leader. It's somebody that is for the people, that will answer them, that will get them answers in a timely manner. If you don't know the answer, you will find it. It's about leading. That it's not like being a mayor of a town. You don't get to make that decision. You're leading the board in the right path, and that's something I'm good at doing.
What do you feel qualifies you? What in your background makes you believe that you will be an effective village president?
I believe just my qualifications, being in town forever, knowing everybody, being on the EMS and running the budgets and my job running the budgets. I think I'm a perfect fit for this, but to get people the answers.
And Matt, how would you effectively communicate important town information to residents, ensuring transparency and accessibility?
So, great question. And as I've been going door to door, what I've really been hearing from people is they're upset. these closed door sessions from this town are absolutely horrible. People aren't getting answers. People are asking questions. They're asking for an email back or a phone call back or even an in-person question. And they go to the board meetings. They won't get questions answered. They're not allowed to talk. Absolutely, transparency is a huge issue in this town, and I will get that. I will make the board accountable to the people again. I will, if I don't have the answer, I will get it to you. You deserve that. People are mad, and I will get answers, and I will get this board fixed.
We are speaking with candidate for Port Edwards Village President Matt Fletcher as part of WFHR's 2025 Spring Candidate Spotlight. And just a couple more questions for you, Matt. You've touched on this a little bit. What do you feel is the biggest, if not the biggest issue challenging your fellow residents?
All right. Well, taxes. Obviously, the tax. Everybody's upset. Port Edwards has become a very expensive place to live. Our taxes are up. Our utility bills are up. People don't understand that utility, like our water treatment plant, is built for business, and nothing's been done with that DMI property. Nothing's been done for years, and instead of getting business back, they're just passing on the taxes and the utility bills to the people. And again, we can't afford to live there. They haven't done anything with the DMI property in years, and we are getting just hammered with these taxes. So my plan is to get that cleaned up, to keep the thumb on the DMI business and lower our taxes, lower the utilities. I plan on bringing back jobs. In Port Edwards, when your kids graduate, they have to move away. There's nothing there for them. And again, I went door to door, and people are upset about this.
And Matt, as we're wrapping up, do you have any final statements?
Yeah, I want to make Port Edwards a great and affordable place again. I'm going to listen to the people and hold the board accountable to them. I'm going to get their questions answered. Again, if I don't know the answer, I will find the answer. I've given up my personal cell phone to people, and I don't have any problem with them calling me. I want to bring back jobs, bring back business to Port Edwards, and make it a better and a more affordable place to live.
Matt, really do appreciate the time. Thanks for working with us on the schedule, and certainly for taking the time out of your day not only to answer our questions, but to run for local candidacy. We really appreciate that. If people do have follow-up questions and they would like to know more, how can they reach you?
They can reach me on my cell phone, 715-315-0480.
Thanks again for the time, Matt. You take care.
No problem. Have a great day. Thank you.
And again, encourage everybody to go to myvote.wi.gov, myvote.wi.gov. Make sure that you are registered and all set and ready to go for the election coming up, and continue to listen for our WFHR 2025 Spring Candidate Spotlight. We'll have more interviews coming up for you right here. Welcome, everyone, to WFHR's Spring Candidate Spotlight. We are taking the time to talk to some of our local candidates. We keep up the WFHR tradition of 80-plus years of asking every candidate the same questions, giving them equal amount of time, and getting to know them a little bit and letting our audience get to know them some. Right now, we have Betsy Mancl with us, running for Port Edwards Village President. Betsy, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate the time. Glad we could work this out schedule-wise. Betsy, we like to ask everybody this opening question. Can you tell us a little about yourself? What's your origin story?
Sure. So I'm Betsy Mancl. I'm 37. I've been married to my husband, Josh, for the last 14 years. We have 4 kids total between the two of us, 3 at home still. Grew up in Rudolph, went to Assumption in Wisconsin Rapids here, and then we moved to Port Edwards about 9 years ago. Once we moved into Port Edwards, we kind of jumped in feet first, and being involved in our community. We wanted to be involved and show our kids how to be involved. My husband started by being on the volunteer fire department, and then I started working with the parent organization at school, and we've just kind of worked our way up from there, trying to do different things and get more involved and get to know more people. Right now, I work as the health aide over at the Port Edwards School District, going between both buildings. I'm a casual position LPN at Edgewater Haven as well. And then I am now on the fire department as a first responder. So that's a little bit about me and how we are at home.
Betsy, what made you decide to run for office?
So I first ran for trustee, 2019. A current board member said, hey, I think you have some good ideas. Why don't you try running and see where this goes? We need some new, fresh ideas on the board. So I did that. And then I ended up getting that spot then. And I just keep rerunning. And I just really love learning about the community and trying to be involved. And the more I've learned about local government, the more I've really hey, I really like this. And I think more people should do it as well. But it can be a hard job. So that's why I first initially ran, again, just to be involved, try to be a voice at the table for maybe some people who haven't lived in Port Edwards their whole life. Just because you haven't lived in Port Edwards doesn't mean you don't have a voice at the table and that you're not important, right? So I kind of wanted to break that stereotype type thinking. So that's one reason why I got involved, and just that's why I keep doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love our community, and I want to keep doing the best that I can for it.
And Betsy, I feel like this is not only a great opportunity for our audience to get to know you candidates, as well as the job that you are running for. Oftentimes when I ask people, what this position does, they're not always certain of everything that entails. So can you tell us a little bit about what it is to be a village president?
Sure. So village president is not like being a mayor. It's different. A lot of people think that the village president has executive authority like a mayor does, and you really are just another board member. You have a different job title, though, right? You have to kind of create the committees. You can kind of decide who you would want on the different committees and mix that up a little bit. But at the end of the day, the board still has to vote on those. So I don't get to say, here you are, take it or leave it. There's a team mentality that's behind it, and you're just kind of the team captain, so to speak. So I try to explain it that way more than any kind of executive power.
What qualifies you, Betsy? What do you feel in your background would make you a very good village president?
So I've been the village president for the last 2 years. I was on the board previously, like I said, from 2019. When it comes to what qualifies anybody for being in any elected position is the want and the willingness to be able to do the work, right? Showing up to work. This isn't a 9-to-5 job. You have to squeeze this in between your other jobs and your family roles, so to speak. So you have to be able to separate. You have to be able to separate time for this and make sure that it's a priority for you, and that it's more than just showing up to meetings. It's doing the research outside of the meetings, networking with other individuals, that kind of thing. I also have leadership qualities of communicating well with others, making sure that everybody understands my thought process. If they have questions, they can always come to me. Another leadership quality I think I have, and what I've been told I have, is that I'm approachable and people can come and talk to me whenever they want. Residents, board members. So there's a lot of different things that leadership, I think, what you need to have for leadership. And I know that's different for everybody, right? And a lot of it is separating your personal beliefs from what's best for the village. Like what's different that's how I do it. This may not be great for Betsy Mancl, but it's great for the entire village, or better for the village. And you have to take that into consideration.
You mentioned a little of this. How do you feel your previous jobs, even your current jobs, prepare you to be good at this job?
Well, working in the healthcare field, right? You really have to set your opinions and beliefs about certain people aside, and you really have to work with them, right? Being an LPN, it's patient focused. So it's not what you think, it's what somebody else, how the patient wants to be treated. So I kind of take that into consideration when I'm working with residents, and working for them. And I think, again, working in healthcare, it's that team mentality that you have to work as a team for the best interest of the patient. And it's the same thing for the village, I think.
Betsy, how would you effectively communicate important town information to residents, ensuring transparency and accessibility?
Yep. So there's obviously open records laws that we have to follow. You have to do things a certain way when you're in politics. But how I have advocated for transparency and getting information out there to our residents is, when I first got on the board, I said, hey, Port Edwards doesn't have a Facebook page. And that's how, even in 2019, that's how the world's kind of working, is to get anything out there, you have to really get on social media. So I advocated for and the board approved to start a social media page. I don't run it. Our staff does, but that's how we can get agendas out there, meeting minutes, important information that residents need to know. That's a good way to get it out there. As a village president right now, I do have my own Facebook page. I try to not overdo it, right? But at least, hey, this is what's happening. This is what's coming on next week's agenda. What I've started last month and this month, and what I would like to continue to do, if again reelected, is to do a monthly snapshot. So after the monthly meeting, hey, this is what happened this month during the meeting. This is the decisions that were made, and here's the video link for our meetings too. Again, just for transparency piece, getting the word out to people, because a lot of people don't want to sit and watch an hour-long meeting. And I get families are busy, so going to meetings or even watching it an hour long, it can be hard. So trying to just do snapshots of it, and then you can still watch the video if you want, or if something intrigues you, like, oh, maybe I do want to watch this one. So those are the things that I've tried to advocate for to try to get out. And then another thing too is just talking with residents is a big thing. Walking around when we've been doing the door knocking, walking around talking with them if they have questions, and answering the hard questions as well.
And Betsy, we're speaking with Betsy Mancl, who is Port Edwards Village President, running for re-election. When it comes to the biggest issues in the area for your fellow residents, what do you feel those are?
The big one there's a couple big ones in Port Edwards, but the big one is always taxes. Taxes are always a little bit higher in Port Edwards, and we all know that. So making sure that, again, we're doing what we can do to best serve the village by using the tax dollars appropriately, making sure that we're advocating on the use appropriately. Again, that was a little redundant, sorry. But so that, and then the other one is the DMI, the old mill property. That's a big one, and we're in the process of trying to figure out how to either work with or not work with DMI and how those next steps go. So I created an ad hoc committee that is just focused on DMI property. DMI hasn't really been working well with us. We thought that they were going to. They were going to apply for a new demo permit, and they haven't done that. So now we have to really, the ball's back into our court saying, okay, we have to do something with it, because it is not only is it an eyesore, it's a hazard, but that's a lot of opportunity for us to be able to build economic development growth. That's really the only place we can grow is if we take care of that. And then that, of course, brings in more funding to the village.
And my final question, Betsy, you kind of answered it with that one. Nice job. What you would do to kind of fix those problems or work out with those problems. So thank you for that. Yeah. Do you have any final statements?
No, just make sure that you're an educated voter. Make sure that you're really understanding what's at stake here. There's two candidates, and we don't obviously agree on things, which is the beauty of democracy, right? Just make sure that you're educated and you're asking questions. And I'm more than happy to meet with individuals. We do have a debate tonight at 7:00. If anybody is interested in coming to that will be recorded and put on YouTube at a later date. So again, if you're not able to make it in person, you can always watch it on YouTube.
And do encourage you to check it out in person. I believe this interview will be airing on Monday. So check it out on YouTube, everybody. And be sure to keep it up to date and be an informed voter. Be educated.
Educated voter, informed voter, and an active resident. I mean, it'd be great to see more people coming to our meetings and being involved in the process.
And on that point, Betsy, thank you for what you have done in doing that. We greatly appreciate you and all these candidates taking time out of your lives to put back into our community. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
And encourage you to find out more and make sure that you are up to date on everything voting. myvote.wi.gov, myvote.wi.gov. Go there, make sure that you're registered and all ready to go when election day gets here. We will have more of our candidate interviews coming up here at WFHR.